today's Zoom. We're going to talk about some common things that happen in regards to carbs and some ways that we may feel it's just overwhelming to think about carbs or cutting back on them or just deciding what we're eating when we're eating it. Maybe carbs aren't your thing of, your struggle. Maybe it's more so eating enough. Maybe it's, not having sugar, not having gluten, whatever your baby step is. Today is going to be very carb centric, but I want you, because some of you aren't at the carb cap baby step yet, I want you to just kind of take in what we talk about today. If you're not there yet, take it in. So this way you have a little bit of a preparation for when we do get there. I'm not telling you to hyper focus on that. Focus on your baby step. That is the hardest part of this whole thing, is the intense focus that's needed just to conquer that baby step that's in front of us. So if that isn't carbs for you yet, just take this in as extra info, but don't start beating yourself up because you're eating carbs. If you can apply some of the principles that we're going to talk about today, apply them to whatever your baby step is. Okay, now I have my chat open. I think I figured out how to keep it open when we opened the whiteboard, but those of you who know, those of you who don't, I'm a feedback queen. As I go and I'm talking, I love having convo ping-ponging. I like knowing when something really hits home or is relatable. And I like knowing if something is confusing and you want me to dive into it, because I can talk like a crackhead sometimes. So I think tell me how you guys like having the whiteboard showing now, as opposed to before when I would just blabber on. I feel like the whiteboard helps so much. Truth be told, originally it was just for me to keep better track, like to keep on track more. So it's funny. Anyway, carbs are not the enemy, all right? But they're also not the only food out there. And they don't have this power source over you, And it's not saying like, oh, I can only sustain on kale, because you can't have them. So while there's a million directions that we could take the topic of feeling like carbs are a necessary part and you can't, break away, we could go a million directions in terms of hormones, mentality, why that is. Depending on some of your guys' deep-rooted binge triggers or boxes, that's going to be different. But today we're going to focus on how we can tend to relate a reward system to carbs, or how we can justify, you hear me talking about this a lot, the worth it moments, especially for carbs. So by me giving you some different perspective ideas and also giving you a little challenge to follow. I know some of you guys really like having those challenges. I think this will give you a lot more clarity. And as we go on from week to week, we can definitely go a different route with these. If you watch today and you're like, I get what you're saying, but it's not 100% where I'm at, feel free to text me and give me your perspective, because that could make for an excellent lesson that would help you as well as others the next time we talk about carbs. Okay, so, oh wait, do I have the chat open? Okay, there we go, yay. Best of both worlds there. I love when technology does something right for me, or I do something right with technology. But anyway, okay, so serotonin. Serotonin is we're going to jump right in. Serotonin is our happy hormone, y'all. And, serotonin, it's regulated, it's released, it's stored throughout both our stomach, believe it or not, and our brain differently. How people are set up, sometimes at high anxiety, your serotonin is misplaced or displaced, and you're not able to have the range of emotions as stable as when it's all centered where it's supposed to be. So we include medications that help pull that into the center, like anti-anxiety medications, things like that. Now, in addition to where the serotonin is placed, which is a whole other topic, we derive it, we make more of it from carbohydrates. So if ever you've heard people, back when Atkins was a thing and people literally, I think they call it like the carnivore diet now, because believe it or not, even keto is more liberal, I guess, than traditional Atkins. But back in the day when Atkins was literally sustaining on hot dogs, bacon, and steak the whole time, if you remember, people would say that, people are, it makes you a bitch. like, oh, you got that like Atkins angry and stuff like that. At least I remember growing up and hearing that stuff. And it's funny now thinking back, it's probably because these people had 0 carbs every single day. But besides that, we derive serotonin, our happy hormone, from carbohydrates. Now, if you've ever noticed, if you're extremely, extremely depressed, if you're going through a very, very low period for more than a couple days, you'll start to notice the mindless snacking on sugar. And the reason, or let's say excessive fruit, that's another big one, especially because I think it's justified because it's fruit, but it's still sweet. The reason is our body, the way it breaks down carbohydrates are, if you have something like, let's say, whole grains, or, a sweet potato or brown rice, things that are hearty, your body breaks that down slower. If you think of something like candy, soda, fruit, whatever, our bodies break that down. Oh, sorry, just my back. Our bodies break that down a lot faster because it's just a boom, quick sugar. It's pretty much all there is to it. There's no real like fiber there, there's no substance. So when you're really going through a low period and you start craving sugar, fruit, things like that, you're craving, believe it or not, you think it's just because it's sweets. Our brain is saying, give me something to give me quick release serotonin, because it knows that you'll quickly absorb that sugar and you'll quickly start producing more of it. So that leads us then to, and I'm going to try and keep this as organized as possible. I get really excited when I start talking about the brain and like the hypothalamus. Those of you who had calls with me about this, you know how I love talking about this. But our hypothalamus, keep that serotonin bit in mind. Our hypothalamus is like our control center. It's a little almond-shaped thing in our brain, and it is what's in charge of telling all the other glands and organs and everything in charge of certain hormones. It tells them what to do based on what your body physically needs to maintain its balance. Eating enough to stay alive, sleeping, at all, things like that, like your basics. So, for example, it will tell tell your pituitary, oh, wait, the cells need more energy. Pituitary, release the hormone that makes this person hungry. Like, oh, cells are full. Release this hormone that makes this person, full. So the hypothalamus is controlling all of these trigger hormones that make you behave and do in a way that will help you sustain what the hypothalamus thinks your balance is. Full enough, hungry enough, that kind of thing. Now, obviously, our hypothalamuses are sometimes a little bit confused, especially if you have a hormonal imbalance, then your hypothalamus is always just trying to find that point, that baseline. Okay, so it tends to get stuck at certain baselines easily. What I mean by that is if your body thinks that you need, insulin resistance, we'll use that as an example. Insulin resistance is when your body thinks you need more insulin for your food than you do. So it starts making you release more, produce more, and which ends up causing fat storage. But hypothalamus, for example, will get stuck at, oh, when she eats this much carbs, release this much insulin, even if it's not correct. Interestingly enough, when we diet extremely, let's say, like a lot of people have a hard time with the slowness of the program at first, especially because it just feels like you're screwing up. But if I were to give somebody a full-on, all-out plan, right? Like boom, 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 do all this shit at once. That amount of change, you may see results if you stick to it, you may see those instant results, but I think all of us can understand that point where we hit the plateau and then it starts going the other way. And that is literally your hypothalamus being like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What is all this change? What is all this sudden weight loss or sudden, I don't know, we even have sudden weight loss. I never experienced that, but just what is all this change? And it will actually release hormones to make you eat more, to make you eat what you need to eat to get back to where you were weight-wise. It is so messed up. Hypothalamuses are not supposed to be jerks, but they really can be. They're there to help us survive, but they can make it really tough to change what we become accustomed to. So if you ever feel like, why do I literally screw myself? It's not just that you're dense, like, it's a chemical reaction that's making it very difficult, because we need to help you move that sticking point. So we do that by going slow, problem solving, having balance, not being perfect all the friggin' time. Things that we're told are bad if we want to see change. So back to serotonin, okay? So now if our hypothalamus starts realizing that when we're very stressed, we go for carbs. When we are confused with what to do and we're overwhelmed, we go for carbs. Carbs are the easy choice. Carbs are the available choice. All of the things that we tell ourselves that it sounds unfathomable to cut down on carbs. When our brain starts registering all of that, it starts registering that when we eat those things and we get serotonin, it becomes our reward. So it literally makes us seek that reward out, or that comfort out, or whatever out. It creates habits for us. And these habits can feel physical, like if you're needing that serotonin, if you're feeling really low, you will physically go seek out carbs. Yeah, it happens. If you are, crap, I forgot. No, I'm not going to tangent. We're going to save that other solution for another lesson. But, what do you guys think of hearing so far? What is sticking out to you? What is is anything new that you're hearing that's like, holy shit? I want to hear how you guys are taking this in. Some of you have had this on the call with me before. So you can say how you felt when you first heard it. That would be awesome. Even if it's to tell people, it's not just because you're undisciplined. It's not because you don't have strong enough resolve. It's that there is something in your brain that is literally operating against you to maintain what it assumes is balance, for reward, for, overall health, it's biology, So I will read that in a minute, Yvonne. Keep the comments coming, though. I love it. Okay. Now, how can we kind of help with this a little bit? Again, this does not take the place of the work that we do privately as well. In addition to this, these weekly lessons are to give us talking points to, follow up on privately, in text, in calls. So whether you get scheduled calls with me or whether you are text only, I want you to make sure that after we watch this, you reach out and let's talk about what you think, okay? So here are some things that can possibly help. So first of all, get to the discovering carb cap baby step. That's not going to be the one out the gate for a lot of you. For a lot of you, will not be there yet. So just, again, keep this in mind. 2, start cultivating a list of foods you enjoy that don't happen to have a lot of carbs. There are a lot out there when you start thinking of it in terms of what can I have instead of what can't I have. Don't try to fit, this is huge. Don't try to fit what it is you eat normally into your carb cap. Because that's typically what we do, right? Like we go, okay, so if I can only have 100 grams of carb a day, then, what am I having for lunch? Okay, I'm having a tortilla for lunch. So that's this many carbs. So I can have this many. And dinner, it's like, oh, okay, I can only have a half a cup of rice. Okay, I have no carbs left. I really want fruit, but I can't have it. Doing it that way is going to make you feel like you are running out of carbs all the time. It's going to make you feel like, I guess I can't eat. It's going to feel restrictive and impossible. Psychologically, rewire that and say, okay, so I have 100 grams of carb per day. So how much food can I get away with? How much, if I keep around more meats, more, and my vegan peeps, we will talk, but it's just easier to just say meats, but meats, if I keep around different frozen veggies in the fridge and do 2 veggie sides this week instead of the rice at all. When you try to game plan delicious stuff to have, where you don't have to think about portion, you don't have to think about I can only have a half a cup or else I'm going to go over. when you think about it as like, I can eat as much as I want of other stuff, and then the carbs I can be mindful about, it's different. Remember, carbs aren't the only food out there. They're not the enemy, but they're not the only food out there. It just feels that way because we are accustomed to it. So start cultivating a list of foods that you love that happen to not have a lot of carbs. After you cultivate that list, look at what you typically eat each day. Try to think of some solutions that just typically don't have a lot of carbs in them. Then you look back at it in your log, or if you're just looking up the carbs as you go and not tracking, and you can say like, oh, okay, this doesn't have a whole lot in it. All right. And you keep it going, and you may even come in under that carb cap if you do it that way. But if you're always trying to fit the carbs into the carb cap, that's when you're going to run into a problem, and you're going to feel super restricted and be like, this is impossible. So apologize, I keep knocking into the computer, but my back today is something. Okay, let's do a quick check on this. So explains so much. I've lost weight working with you, and you know how I was stuck in Mexico for 3 months. That was crazy. A lot has changed, and I tried to stick to my baby steps, even though it was extremely hard, especially with the carbs. Yeah, and Yvonne, it wasn't like you were in an area that, was just built up or whatever. I remember you went half the time you were in Cancun. The other time you were like, I'm visiting grandma. Like, I can't, what am I going to make almond flour with, but it was really hard, getting back from there. I'm sure there was a really big transition too. Heidi, my brain is an a-hole. Us women just can't win. Yes, we can win. You know why? Because we are strong. We are smart enough to figure this out. But came back out, there we go. And I was basically the same, maybe even dropped an extra 5 pounds. But when I was dieting, I changed one small thing for a week and gained back 10 pounds. Yeah. Focus on the baby steps, That is it. It's so hard. I have a lot of clients when they first start, let's say I give them their first baby step and it drives them nuts. But first baby step is drink water upon waking up, wait 2 hours for coffee, have apple cider vinegar in the morning. Probably like, what the hell am I paying for? That's what I'm paying you for, to tell me that? Yeah, because that's not the only thing we're going to be doing. Make sure you hit that consistently. Then we tackle something else, So it may, and they'll come back to me and be like, this has 7 grams of carbs. Is that okay? And I'll be like, what's your baby step? And I don't say it because I don't know it. I say it to remind that sometimes the hardest part is realizing that we have to tackle what's difficult. And if carbs are what's difficult for you, we got to deep dive into that. And that may take time, but it's okay because it's important to figure this stuff out so you don't end up back, where you were. So my challenge for you guys, okay, I want you to print out a calendar. You can just Google blank August 2020. I don't know why I just thought Googling August 2020, like, what a year 2020 has been. Like, what would the theme of August be? But anyway, decide 2 things, events, circumstances, whatever that's coming up in August. 2 things only that are your worth it moments. Maybe you don't have anything coming up that you could think of as a worth it moment. Okay, plan some, make them special, make it awesome, make it something to look forward to. Don't just make it, I feel like having sugar today. Plan it out, 2 of them. Now, if this feels too invasive, guys, or too restrictive, it's okay. Text me about it. But if those of you are looking at this and you're like drooling, like, yeah, give me something harder to do, this is it, okay? But I want you to make those 2 things worth it, okay? Print out your calendar. You're going to put your worth it moments on the calendar, like book it for that day, okay? Then make a pact with yourself that nothing is a reason to break it. No excuse. If they don't have the type of thing that you like at that place, go to a different place. If you are craving a soda and the only thing you have is regular soda in your house, and your baby step is sugar and you've deemed it not a worth it day, go get a diet soda. Like it's not going to be easy, but you need to start practicing and seeing practical ways to change the things that happen in your life that make it harder. And to do that, it's sucky at first, I guess, but then it's like you develop a new normal. Did anybody think before any of this pandemic shit happened that we would all be sitting here teaching kids through computers, wearing masks, to go to Home Depot? No. Is it still friggin' fantastic? No, but we're pretty used to it for the most part, like find your ideal. And for right now, if your ideal is going to be to make a plan for yourself, and say, okay, I need to learn how I'm going to not include, something in my day to day. Maybe it's not carbs. Maybe this is just for your baby step in general. That's fine. But decide 2 worth it moments this month that the baby step won't apply. Write them down. For each day that you are able to dictate whether it's a worth it day or not, meaning for each day that you stick to your baby step, put an X on your calendar. If you feel like it's impossible, you reach a moment where you're like, I don't know what to do to avoid breaking my baby step, you need to reach out. It's so scary. I know it's so scary. And you feel like, I hate that I even have to. And maybe you don't want to reach out because you don't want me to tell you not to have something. That's okay. Those of you who have been with me for a while now know I won't ever tell you really not to do something. I will try to teach you how to feel good about making a different decision. And if we can't, I'll teach you how to feel good about whatever decision you're making. But reach out for that life vest. If you don't know how to not do something, then it could be as simple as just being told how. Maybe you never thought of a certain solution that was there. I'm pretty creative. If you ask anybody who's worked with me for a while, if any of you can remember any creative suggestions of mine and want to throw it in the chat for those who are new in here. But I have creative ideas about how to zhuzh, as I say, how to zhuzh around most situations, how to make most things fit hormonally friendly in the moment. I want to teach you. So I can only teach you if you reach out and tell me. And those of you who have been working with me and our lovely assistant coach, who I will introduce to you guys soon, Meryl, that could be me, that could be Meryl, could be the group chat, could be your Facebook group chat if you need support and you're about to break your baby step. But you need to reach out for that support because it's here for you and it's judgment friggin' free. Okay? Mia, please. Oh, Jesus. Hopefully she shuts up because I have a barn door. It ain't soundproof. So every day you do it, you put an X on that calendar, okay? Every time you break it, I want you to put a star on that calendar. And that star is not like I suck star. That star is a reminder to learn further on that situation. We are going to take the next month as data collecting, okay? So every time you screw up, you think you're screwing up. No, that is something for us to analyze, okay? Because think about it. If you could analyze why you screwed up and then learn how, and then change what you do so that situation doesn't happen, you solve the problem. If this is slow as shit for us as it is, what do we got? Why are we rushing? Where are we going? We're going to go to, a bikini shoot next month? No, we got time. Okay. So reach out for help. Okay. I don't know what that was, but let's see what people are saying. Okay. It's really scary. I've been trying daily to make sure I stick to my baby steps. It seems like blasphemy to plan to break them. I mean, you can put tentative worth it moments on there too. You might get to that worth it moment and say, like, you know what? I'll do this next month. I'll do my worth it moment next week. You might push it back. It's okay. You can change it up. But for those who are having a hard time getting a consistent, let's say, week or a consistent 2 days, there's no shame in that. I've been there too. But let's be real with each other so we can get better. I think having maybe the accountability of that and kind of anticipating that might help. Tell me what you guys think. Those of you who are a little bit shyer, tell me what you think. Okay. I have sent you my fridge labeled in Snapchat and you have figured out a meal before. Not once, but twice. That is my favorite thing to do. I don't know how to start advertising that more so that when my clients come to me, they start expecting that. But those of you watching now, if you want to take that and run with it, if you want to cook with me, I am so down. I like, it's super fun to me. It's like Chopped. You know the show Chopped? I like want to be on that show one day. But then I'm like, I think about anxiety and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I've been on a film set when it comes to food, and it is the most intense thing ever. So help me play Chopped at home, less pressure, okay? Farah, good question. You are one of our brand newbies. Welcome. A worth it moment. A worth it moment. This is a perfect time. Okay, I'm going to answer that. And I know this seems really ADD, but you'll see how perfect this timing is. If you see at the bottom of the screen here, I wrote new classroom tour. We're switching to the new classroom August 10th. I have been talking about revamping for a really long time and it's finally coming together. Some of you are already in there. I know I've been talking about this a lot on our calls this week, you know, adding you guys while we're on the phone. So let me see how I can stop the share. And then, okay, so this is the new classroom, all right? And I'll give you guys, you know, the access code, yeah, the access code. I will post it in the page again after if you want to join. Now, just so you know, I am still working on this before August 10th. So if you join, only join if you don't mind getting the email notifications, because as I am adding stuff, revamping, whatever, you're gonna get notified. But this is the format of the new classroom. Everything is in here. It's all organized. Once our system is up and running and we've worked out all the kinks, you're going to be able to submit your pictures and measurements right through here, which then they'll be saved into your own file. I broke down the ebook from the big, just one overall document down into individual documents that are really just easy to read and stuff, you know, just a few of the basics. So instead of having to find like microwave bread here and chaffles there and blah, 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 it's all right there. Okay, so let's scroll down here. And then, oh, all the videos are being uploaded here. So make sure you look out for that. So here we have the worth it question. So Farah, over here, this is also pinned to the top of the Facebook page. But the worth it questions, I hope it opens. Okay, so the idea is whenever you want to break a baby step, now we're giving you your first baby step on your first call, so it's okay if you're confused by that. But the idea is to ask yourself these questions when you're deciding if it's worth it to break your baby step. So, you know, if you can get through these questions and still feel after reading these that it is worth breaking that baby step, you go for it. And you understand that it is a balance in life to have worth it moments. But to not justify the things we want all the time as worth it moments, that's the harder part. So this challenge is by predetermining 2 worth it moments throughout the next month, you're going to have control on what that is, when that is, instead of it being like, oh, whoops, the office catered lunch today and it popped up and it happens to be something I enjoy eating. The idea is to learn how, when those moments happen, how to tweak it to still fit your baby step. So this way, life can pop up and happen, but we're still following what helps our hormones balance. So you can either, you know, screenshot, save this from the classroom folder, or again, it is pinned to the top of the Facebook Academy page. So what do we think about the new classroom? I love it. I know some of you guys really love the journal entry option on the old classroom. I'm going to put a poll up in the Academy page to see if you guys want to keep that. If I don't know, I'll put something on here for you guys for journaling accountability. It might not be the same format, but I'm going to put that poll up to see how you guys feel. So all of this, all these videos here, I'm gonna be adding more law of attraction stuff. You guys can do evaluations to see how your baby step went, what you need to focus on, and it helps Meryl and I see if we are ready to give you another baby step. So this isn't launched yet. I will do an official tour and explanation once we're all launched. But if you would like to be in this classroom, text me and I'll walk you through how to join the new class with the code and everything. So I know that was like the longest answer ever, Farah, but I felt like it was like perfect timing. Okay, so I really love talking about this kind of stuff with you guys, but as you know, I can tangent. So it's hard for me to stay focused on one component of the topic. But I want to remind you, make your baby step your focus. And if you need help doing that because you are feeling deprived of carbs, you're feeling like you've run out of creative ideas unless it involves carbs, you are one of the 2 ladies in here who both broke your freaking ankle. Two. I'm so sorry. Sucks. But, you know, whatever the circumstance may be, Marilyn and myself, we're both excited to work with you guys and help you find solutions for that, to learn your way around it. So I hope this gave you guys lots to think about. And as I said, I always welcome more private combos after the fact to talk about it. So enjoy the rest of your night. I am here and I'll talk to you guys soon. So bye.